2 and 3.
We'll see you next week. Yeah, next week.
Hare Krishna.
Oh, same time.
Hare Krishna, everybody. Welcome, welcome to Bhaktivedanta Manor. Thank you for joining us on this bank holiday weekend. There are many, many other places that you could be right now, but you chose to come here to Bhaktivedanta Manor. So we're praying and we're hoping that we can share something with you that will be inspiring and help you to develop your relationship with Krishna. So we'll start with a small prayer, and then we'll get into our discussion today. Jaya Ratha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Radha Madhava Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradari, Gopijana Vallabha, Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradari. Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana, Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana, Jamuna Tira Vanachari, Jamuna Tira Vanachari, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Radha Gokula Nanda, Radha Gokula Nanda Radhe. Jaya Radha Gokula Nanda, Radha Gokula Nanda Shri Radhe. Jaya Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman, Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman. Jaya Gauranitai, 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 Jaya Gauranitai. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Srila Prabhupada. Nitai Gaura Hariva, 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 Nitai Gaura Hariva. Nitai Gaura Hariva, 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 Nitai Gaura Hariva. Shri Shri Radha Gokulananda ki jai, Shri Shri Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman ki jai, Shri Shri Gauranitai ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 10, text number 9. So this is a very famous verse where Krishna is describing the activities and the qualities of the devotees of the Lord. So we're going to discuss this today. So I'll chant the verse, read the translation, and then we'll read the purport as well. So chapter 10, text number 9. Machita madgata prana bodhayanta parashparam katayantascha mam nityam tushanti cha ramanti cha. So the translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The thoughts of my pure devotees dwell in me. Their lives are fully devoted to my service, and they derive great satisfaction and bliss from always enlightening one another and conversing about me. The purport. Please listen very closely. I've got a little test that I will kind of ask a few questions to you afterwards, and hopefully you'll be able to get the answers. Pure devotees whose characteristics are mentioned here engage themselves fully in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. Their minds cannot be diverted from the lotus feet of Krishna. Their talks are solely on the transcendental subjects. The symptoms of the pure devotees are described in this verse specifically. Devotees of the Supreme Lord are 24 hours daily engaged in glorifying the qualities and pastimes of the Supreme Lord. Their hearts and souls are constantly submerged in Krishna, and they take pleasure in discussing him with other devotees. In the preliminary stage of devotional service, they relish the transcendental pleasure from the service itself, and in the mature stage, they are actually situated in love of God. Once situated in that transcendental position, they can relish the highest perfection which is exhibited by the Lord in his abode. Lord Chaitanya likens the transcendental service to the sowing of a seed in the heart of the living entity. There are innumerable living entities traveling throughout the different planets of the universe, and out of them there are a few who are fortunate enough to meet a pure devotee and get the chance to understand devotional service. This devotional service is just like a seed, and if it is sown in the heart of a living entity, and if he goes on hearing and chanting, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, that seed fructifies just as the seed of a tree fructifies with regular watering. The spiritual plant of devotional service gradually grows and grows until it penetrates the covering of the material universe and enters into the Brahmajyoti effulgence in the spiritual sky. In the spiritual sky, also that plant grows more and more until it reaches the highest planet, which is called Goloka Vrindavan, the spiritual planet of the supreme planet of Krishna. Ultimately, the plant takes shelter under the lotus feet of Krishna and rests there. Gradually, as a plant grows fruits and flowers, that plant of devotional service also produces fruits, and the watering process in the form of chanting and hearing goes on. This plant of devotional service is fully described in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, chapter 19. It is explained there that when the complete plant takes shelter under the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, one becomes fully absorbed in love of God. Then he cannot even live for a moment without being in contact with the Supreme Lord, just as a fish cannot live without water. In such a state, the devotee actually attains the transcendental qualities in contact with the Supreme Lord. The Srimad Bhagavatam is also full of such narrations about the relationship between the Supreme Lord and his devotees. Therefore, the Srimad Bhagavatam is very dear to the devotees, as stated in the Bhagavatam itself, 12:13-18, Srimad Bhagavatam Puranam Amalam Yad Vaishnavam Priyam. In this narration, there is nothing about material activities, economic development, sense gratification, or liberation. Srimad Bhagavatam is the only narration in which the transcendental nature of the Supreme Lord and his devotees are fully described. Thus, the realized souls in Krishna consciousness take continual pleasure in hearing such transcendental literatures, just as a young boy and girl take pleasure in association. So the translation one more time. The thoughts of my pure devotees dwell in me. Their lives are fully devoted to my service, and they derive great satisfaction and bliss from always enlightening one another and conversing about me. So we'll say a few prayers to our spiritual teachers and our spiritual mentors as a prayer of gratitude, a prayer of blessings. If you know these prayers, please join me. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurum Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Hitamstra He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Site Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhye Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pasyatya Deshitarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So Hare Krishna everybody. Thank you all very much for joining us today. So I said we will do a little test on the purport to see how attentively you were listening, how attentively you were able to follow. So Srila Prabhupada talks about various activities, various qualities that the devotees engage in at the very beginning of the purport. There are 5 things that I picked out. Can someone tell me a few of them, or maybe one of them? Yes? 24 hours a day. Engaged in devotional service 24 hours. Always thinking about the Lord. Yes. So their minds they cannot be diverted from the lotus feet of Krishna. Yes, perfect. Does anyone have anything else? Anyone remember anything else? Yes, they like to talk about the qualities of the Lord. So they are solely glorifying the qualities and pastimes of the Lord. Thank you. Maybe one more from someone else, if they can remember. Okay, so their bodies are fully engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. Their minds cannot be diverted from the lotus feet of the Lord. Their talks are of the glorifications and of the pastimes of the Lord. Their hearts and souls are submerged in Krishna, and they take pleasure in discussing about him with others as well. So, what does Lord Chaitanya liken the transcendental devotional service to? What is the analogy that Lord Chaitanya uses? Chanting, that's one thing, yes, yes. Like the fish in water, yes. Perfect, yes, yes. So Lord Chaitanya says, he says that it's like a seed that is planted in the heart. So now we're in the springtime, maybe many of you are doing gardening. We're sowing many seeds to prepare for the summer and the new season that's coming ahead. And so engaging in this transcendental devotional service is like receiving a seed and sowing that seed in your heart. Another question I had is, how do we water this seed? So this Prabhuji very nicely said here, to chant the Hare Krishna mantra. So what is the Hare Krishna mantra? Let's all chant it together. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So just by this chanting, we're watering this seed of devotional service. Okay, where does the plant grow after it's being watered? Whilst it's being watered, where does it eventually grow towards? Towards the Lord, yes. So it takes shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord and becomes absorbed in love. And the final question that I have for you today, what is the Srimad Bhagavatam full of? I heard something. Yes, it is full of the narrations of Lord Krishna and his devotees. Thank you very much for being so attentive to the purport of By His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. So, we spoke about 5 different qualities that are discussed in this particular purport today. The body which is engaged in service, the mind which is not diverted, the talks which are glorifying the Lord, the hearts which are submerged in the Lord, and the discussions which take place about Him. So of these 5, we're going to focus on 3. We are going to focus on the talks, we're going to focus on the mind, and we are also going to talk about the heart. So today we want to share with you some of the reasons why we should engage in these practices in Krishna consciousness. Simon Sinek, he's a popular author and a thought leader. He's written a book which is entitled Start With Why. And he talks about in this book how when we have a strong why, that helps us to deal with all of the challenges that we might face on a journey. And then when we have this strong reason as to why we are doing something, it also naturally allows us to find the what we need to do in order to go the journey, in order to make progress towards the goal. So today we are going to focus on the why we should be engaged in these activities, and hopefully you'll be able to find out the what as well. So let us start with our first thing. Today we are going to focus on the talks. So when 2 people, they want to get to know each other, they usually ask questions like, what's your favorite color? What's your favorite food? And this helps us to engage in service to that person. And it allows us to serve them in a way that pleases them. So maybe we want to give them a gift which is of their favorite color. Or maybe we want to cook something which is of their favorite dish. So Srila Prabhupada uses the analogy of the boy and girl, and they experience great joy and great pleasure in association with each other. And this demonstrates how the devotees continuously take pleasure in hearing about the pastimes of the Lord. Srimad Bhagavatam is exclusively explaining these pastimes. The Srimad Bhagavatam is full of nectarian pastimes about the Lord and his devotees. So this is a really important thing that we should consider, because the devotees want to enter into relationship with the Lord. And therefore we must make an effort to learn about him. We need to learn about what he likes, what's his favorite food, what's his favorite color. And then we can serve him in a way that pleases him. So let's try to kind of think of an example that we can see in our practical lives to demonstrate this principle. So we're starting a new job, we're going to work, we're starting a new job, and we want to learn about our manager. How do they like to do the work that they do? What do they expect from us? What value can we add to our project? And the way that we can learn about all of this stuff is by observing their behavior with the other team members, which have already been there for some time. We can get familiar with the work, we can get familiar with what we can add to this particular role. And then as we start to get familiar with our role, with our team, we find that we start to make friends. We start to make friends with other team members. We maybe even start to make friends with our manager as well. And so in the same way, when we start our journey in Krishna consciousness, when we start our building up our relationship with Krishna, we need to understand him, who he is as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We want to please him in a mood of awe and reverence, so we do worship to him, because ultimately he's the manager of all of the universal affairs. But as we start to learn what he likes and what he doesn't like, then our relationship deepens and we actually start to enter a deeper friendship with him. So Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, they are the guidebooks by which we can learn how to please the Lord. We can understand what he really values in devotional service. And so this is the reason why the devotees, they read and study about their Lord, because they want to please him in a way that he finds pleasing. Glorifying the pastimes of the Lord gives us so much pleasure as well. It's not that the Lord is just, seeking all of this glorification himself. It gives us so much pleasure because the Lord is the object of the devotee's love. It's really important for us to read the Srimad Bhagavatam and the Bhagavad Gita, because then we have a grounding in knowledge. Without this foundation, we can sometimes fall into a trap of sentimentalism. I'm such a pure devotee, I'm chanting every day, all day long. I'm chanting 64 rounds and I'm regularly attending all these kirtans. But where is the philosophy of Krishna consciousness? Where is the knowledge about who is Krishna? What does he really like? So when we read about the devotees of the Lord who are fully surrendered unto him, then we can understand where we are in the journey of Krishna consciousness, and we can use their example as an inspiration, and we can follow in their footsteps as well. For example, we can learn from Arjuna. Arjuna was faced with such a great dilemma. He was faced with the most difficult challenge of fighting against his family. Who here has fought with their family before? Anyone had a fight with their family? I don't believe you. No one's put their hand up. Yes. So we can relate to Arjuna's position. Maybe we didn't have to kill our family members, but we've had a fight with our family. And in this dire situation, what did Arjuna do? Arjuna, he took shelter of Krishna, because Krishna could help him to understand what was his next step. And so we can apply the same principle in our lives. We can apply the same principle in our lives by approaching a spiritual guide, a spiritual mentor, and they can help us to understand what is the next step that we need to take to help us to overcome the challenges that we face in our journey in Krishna consciousness. When we do this, we might be surprised at the magic that starts to take place in our life. So reading Bhagavad Gita and studying Srimad Bhagavatam should all be paired with chanting. Chanting is ultimately the thing that we have to do, because sometimes if we just collect all this knowledge, we might just become mental speculators and we might just end up with all of this philosophy swirling around in our head. And therefore, we have to practice chanting. So can anyone remind me, what do we chant in this temple room? I've forgotten. What do we chant? Hare Krishna mantra. Can everyone chant together? Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Thank you very much. So now we're going to enter into the mind. The minds of the devotees are not diverted from the lotus feet of the Lord. So when we approach a spiritual guide, they give us the seed of bhakti, and then we have to nurture it. We have to take out all of the weeds, and we have to water it. So Srila Prabhupada explains that devotional service is like a seed which is being sown in the garden of our heart. And we have to water it by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. This means that chanting is the most important process in devotional service because it helps our bhakti grow. And that's why the devotees are focusing so much on chanting. They want to improve their chanting. They want to give their attention. They want to give their focus to the mantra. And if we water just the leaves of a plant, what happens? If we water the soil where there is no seed, what happens? Nothing. Nothing happens. So we have to water in the right place, in the correct way as well. And so the devotees are going to those bhakti teachers who are focused, who are expert in their chanting, so that they can get tips and tricks, tips and techniques in how to improve in their own chanting, how to water the creeper of bhakti better. So when we continue to water a plant, it eventually starts to bear fruit that we can relish. But we still continue to take care of the plant. Srila Prabhupada states in the purport that the plant of devotional service produces fruits, and the watering process of hearing and chanting continues. We don't simply just neglect the plant. Oh, my dear plant, you've given me so nice, such sweet fruits, but now I'm not going to water you anymore. I've got the result. No, we continue to chant and hear. We continue to nurture the plant. Has anyone ever seen the devotees, they walk around Bhaktivedanta Manor and they're loudly singing? Has anyone ever seen this before? It's quite a phenomenon to watch. Sometimes I've also seen as well, and I think these Hare Krishna devotees, they're a bit crazy. They're constantly chanting the same mantra over and over again, and yet they experience such joy and happiness. Srila Prabhupada, he once visited Harvard University, and one student asked him a question. Why do we have to chant this Hare Krishna mantra? Why can't we just count numbers? And so Srila Prabhupada very witfully answered to this question. Yes, you can count numbers, but when you become tired, just try to chant this Hare Krishna mantra. And so the devotees of the Lord, they never tire from chanting His name, Lord Krishna's name. But why is this? The devotees have taken shelter of the Lord, and they've become absorbed in love for Him. When we love someone, maybe our spouse, maybe our children, we're constantly thinking about them, and we want to constantly do something which is, to help them. We're concerned about their welfare. Srila Prabhupada explains that when the creeper of devotion takes shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, the devotee become absorbed in thoughts about the Lord. The devotees are kind of, like we were talking about before, they're like a fish out of water. They're almost lifeless without the Lord's presence in their lives. So how do the devotees bring the Lord into their lives? What ideas do you have? How do the devotees bring the Lord into their lives? By chanting, yes, by chanting. So Srila Prabhupada comments in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 6, the conclusion is that the Lord can be seen and heard by persistent chanting of the transcendental sound. So the Lord is non-different to His names. And so the devotees are constantly chanting because they are experiencing this lifelessness. They are like the fish out of water. And so they're bringing the presence of the Lord into their lives by this chanting. And so we can also apply this same principle in our lives by absorbing our mind in Krishna. And we can do this, maybe we can also sing whilst we're doing our other activities. Or maybe we can carry a little traveling bead bag around with us so that we can chant a few extra mantras. And the final thing that we wanted to discuss today is the heart. The final ingredient in our recipe of bhakti is that we need to add in our heart, to give our heart. This doesn't mean that we need to give our physical heart, but rather it kind of refers to the emotional heart. So the hearts and souls of the devotees are submerged in Krishna. Why do you think that Krishna loves his devotees? Does anyone have any ideas? Why does Krishna love his devotees? Because they give themselves, yes. He resides in their heart, yes. Anyone else? Any other ideas? Why does Krishna love his devotees? Compassionate, yes. Because we are his children, yes. So in Bhagavad Gita 9:29, Krishna states, "Whomever renders service unto me in devotion is a friend, is in me, and I am also a friend to him." So Krishna is a friend to his devotees because they serve him with this love and devotion, and therefore he gives them special attention. This is why devotion, which is expressed through our emotions, is so important when we engage in service to the Lord. When we fuse the service that we do with devotion, then we start to attract the attention of Krishna. Does anyone know the story of Sudama the Brahmana? Yes? Yes, many of you, yes. So it's a very famous story, so I will summarize this story for you today. So Lord Krishna had a school friend whose name was Sudama, and they enjoyed many pastimes together when they were learning under their guru. Many years later, Sudama was encouraged by his wife to visit the Lord and ask for some financial help. They were so poor, they were so poverty-stricken, they didn't even have anything to eat. So Sudama agreed reluctantly, but he wanted to take something for the Lord. So they went and begged from a few of their neighbors, and they only managed to get some chipped rice. Chipped rice is broken and it's usually rejected, it's not usually considered. So after a long journey to Dwarka, Sudama saw his childhood friend Krishna, who invited him in and worshipped him appropriately as a Brahmana. So after talking for some time, Krishna noticed that Sudama was carrying a little package with him, and he asked to see it. But Sudama, he was feeling so ashamed. He bowed his head and he was thinking, how can I give this meager offering to the Lord who's surrounded by such opulence and wealth? But Lord Krishna snatched the parcel from Sudama and started to relish it. So we have a little time. I'll read from Srila Prabhupada's Krishna book. I'll read a couple of chapters from there. So this is a quote from Srila Prabhupada's Krishna book in chapter 81. He then snatched the bundle of chipped rice which was hanging on the shoulder of the poor Brahmana, packed in one corner of his wrapper, and said, "What is this, my dear friend? You have brought me some nice, palatable chipped rice?" He encouraged Sudama Vipra, saying, "I consider that this quantity of chipped rice will satisfy not only me, but the whole creation." It is understood from this statement that Krishna, being the original source of everything, is the root of the entire creation. As watering the root of a tree immediately distributes water to every part of the tree, so an offering made to Krishna, or any action done for Krishna, is to be considered the highest welfare work for everyone, because the benefit of such an offering is distributed throughout the creation. Love for Krishna is distributed to all living entities. While Krishna was speaking to Sudama Vipra, he ate one morsel of chipped rice from his bundle. And when he attempted to eat a second morsel, Rukmini Devi, the goddess of fortune herself, checked the Lord by catching hold of his hand. After touching the hand of Krishna, Rukmini said, "My dear Lord, this one morsel of chipped rice is sufficient to cause him who offered it to become very opulent in this life and to continue his opulence in the next life. My Lord, you are so kind to your devotee that even this one morsel of chipped rice pleases you very greatly, and your pleasure assures the devotee opulence in both this life and the next. This indicates that when food is offered to Krishna, to Lord Krishna, with love and devotion, and he is pleased and accepts it from the devotee, Rukmini Devi, the goddess of fortune, becomes so greatly obliged to that devotee that she has to go personally to the devotee's home and to turn it into the most opulent home in the world. The learned Brahmana Sudama passed that night at the house of Lord Krishna. And while there, he felt as if he were living on a Vaikuntha planet. Actually, he was living in Vaikuntha because wherever Lord Krishna, the original Narayan, and Rukmini Devi, the goddess of fortune, live, is not different to the spiritual planets Vaikuntha Lokam. So Krishna appreciated Sudama's offering that he made. It was so small and insignificant, but because it was made with love and devotion, then this became such an offering that even the goddess of fortune had to stop Krishna from taking another bite. And this is why devotion is so important to inject into our service of the Lord. Srila Prabhupada explains in his purport to Bhagavad Gita 9:29 that the devotees are situated in him because the devotees are conscious of him all the time, in all aspects of their life, and therefore the Lord gives them specific and special attention. Do we want that special attention of the Lord? Yes, we do. We do. The magic of adding devotion to our service is that we become beautified by doing so. Lord Krishna is the most beautiful. Just look at Radha Gokulananda today. Can someone tell me what color are they wearing? Purple? What color are they wearing? Maroon. Yes, maroon. Maroon. Did you notice that Krishna's got something special in his turban today? Not only does he have one peacock feather, he has 6 peacock feathers. He has a peacock feather fan in his turban today. So if we look really closely at Krishna, we'll be able to spot how beautiful he is. We'll be able to notice how beautiful the Lord is. Srila Prabhupada uses a very beautiful analogy in his purport to 929 to explain how we can become beautiful by engaging in the service of the Lord with devotion. So I'll quote this analogy. When a diamond is set in a golden ring, it looks very nice. The gold is glorified, and at the same time the diamond is glorified. The Lord and the living entity eternally glitter. And when the living entity becomes inclined to the service of the Supreme Lord, he looks like gold. The Lord is a diamond, and so this combination is very nice. Living entities in a pure state are called devotees, and the Supreme Lord becomes the devotee of his devotees. So this means that we can become glorified by serving the Lord with devotion. Krishna accepted the small offering of Sudama because it was offered with devotion. Srila Prabhupada explains in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 6, the more a person is engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord, the more he acquires hankering for it. That is the transcendental nature of godly service. So our service to Bhaktivedanta Manor can be glorified if we add Krishna to it. When we add these heartfelt feelings to our service, then we will see the magic that will happen in our lives because Krishna is in the center. So, to summarize, to bring everything together, we want to learn about Krishna because we want to deepen our relationship with him, just like the new worker with their team and manager. We do this by studying and reading the Bhagavad Gita and the Srimad Bhagavatam. We want to absorb our minds in Krishna and bring him close to our lives, because this waters the plant of devotion. We do this by chanting the holy name of the Lord, because it is equivalent to himself. And finally, we want to add devotion to our service because it attracts the special attention of the Lord and makes us beautiful. We do this by making offerings and performing our service with some emotion. Maybe it's love, maybe it's gratitude, maybe it's surrender. So we thank you very much today. We will stop here and see if there are any other questions, any comments. We thank you very much for your kind attention. Okay, if there are no questions and comments, thank you very much for joining us today. Arti will be very soon, in about 10 minutes or so. Shri Shri Radha Gokulananda ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. We have a very special guest today. Come to see Krishna. Our name is Aruna Bhatt. This lady in the wheelchair, she's 97 years old. So as soon as the curtain is open, then she can take darshan. And Krishna can take darshan of her. Because she's 97 years old and she's decided to come and see Krishna. Isn't that wonderful? You want to say Hare Krishna to Aruna Bhatt? Everyone? It's a wonderful family, I just learned. There are 3 generations, and they are all living together. Can you imagine? In nowadays, these days, they are all staying together, 3 generations. Hare Krishna. Thank you. We can do some kirtan now. Anybody wants to sing Hare Krishna? Or just follow me? 2 minutes? Yes? You would like to sing? Very nice. You start, and the others will follow, okay? All right.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Now it's your turn. Okay, very good.
Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, ¿gané? ¿Ya? ¿Si no quiere? ¿Gané? Hare Hare, Hare
Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
जय श्री श्री राधा गोकुलानंद की श्री श्री सीताराम लक्ष्मण हनुमान की श्री श्री गौर निताय की श्रील प्रभुपाद की. Please kindly come forward for the Aarti ceremony. And as the Aarti ceremony is being performed, we'll be singing this song, the Gaur Aarti song. That's on the screen. The lead singer will sing one line at a time, and then if you can follow the lead singer, and then we're going to chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Jaya Jaya Gaura Chande Aroti Kaso